Hello, everyone, and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats. And yeah, this week we're doing a theme week, which was my theme, healthcare horror. And yeah, I got the idea basically because I work in a hospital. And granted, all I do is clean floors, janitor, custodian type stuff. But I've been around, man. I've seen some things. I've seen some stuff. I don't recommend it. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I do actually work in a hospital, which kind of gave me the idea for this. And then I just started thinking about all these horror movies that take place in, hospitals, insane asylums, doctors' offices, morgues, all this other kind of stuff. So yeah, it gave me the idea. So anyway, the one that I wanted to talk about, I'm actually surprised it's never been done on this channel, but from 1978, based on the Robin Cook novel and written for the screen and directed by the late great Michael Crichton. We have Coma, really good suspense thriller starring Genevieve Bujold, who you'll remember her from David Cronenberg's Dead Ringers, and Michael Douglas. I don't really think I need to explain who Michael Douglas is, but also too, wow, I mean, when you watch this movie, you're gonna be surprised. Quite the cast you got in this. It's not just these two, but also Rip Torn is in this movie, and Richard Widmark, um, Lois Chiles. From remember from the Hitchhiker segment from Creepshow 2. There's a little, one of his very first, like very early acting roles is Tom Selleck. There's a little bit part where you see a very young Ed Harris in here. Um, yeah, wow. I mean, this movie just a lot of talented, a lot of talented actors and stars in this film. So um, yeah, based on Robin Cook's novel. Now, Robin Cook, definitely was, he is a doctor, or yeah, I could just go ahead and say he's a doctor in real life, and same thing like John Grisham with John Grisham started writing all these legal thrillers and stuff like that. Well, you got good old Robin Cook here, who's a doctor, so he started writing medical thrillers, and and you watch this movie and you could tell. I'm pretty sure. Well, Michael Crichton, even though he wasn't the author of the book, I mean, we all know Michael Crichton was a pretty smart guy, and he wrote his share of books. I mean, obviously, like Jurassic Jurassic Park, Congo, things like that. So, I mean, we all know Michael Crichton, The Lost World, things like that. But yeah, I'm sure he did his share of research as well, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of the dialogue and stuff like that in here is pretty much taken from the book. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously, Robin Cook was an author who, he knew how to write what he knew. And so anyway, the story is about Dr. Susan Wheeler, who played by Genevieve Bujold, who oh man, I can't help it. Is watching this a little while ago, I couldn't help but laugh, and the reason why I was laughing was because, you sit here like you hear people talking about like, oh, we didn't have strong female leads, and kind of like girl boss type characters in as leads in movies until like 2015. This is 1978, and Genevieve Bujold's character is a total girl boss in this movie. She don't take shit from nobody. She, if her gut instinct is telling her something, by God, she's gonna act on it. Nobody's gonna stand in her way. She's gonna do what she's got to do. Okay, I mean, this is a total, and the difference is like she's not written like the way a lot of these female characters are written now. She's not written to be horrible and despicable. She's written as like, okay, she's strong-willed. Um, Nobody's gonna tell her what to do. She does get her character gets mansplained to a lot, but you know what? She's just like, screw this. I know something's up, and I'm gonna trust my gut instinct. I'm gonna go on it, and everything else. I mean, it's like, yeah, hey, if you're one of those people that didn't think, strong women characters didn't exist in movies until like 2015, 2016, or something like that, watch this from 1978. Okay? This will shut you up. I'm not going to, sorry, not sorry, but yeah, if you're one of those kind of people, watch this movie. This will shut you up, and you're going to feel bad about how wrong you really are. Anyway, sorry, rant over. Enough of that. But anyway, so So like I said, you have Dr. Susan Wheeler, her character, and she is, like I said, she's no nonsense. She don't take shit from nobody. She's gonna do what she's got to do by God. And her boyfriend, well, I guess lover. I think lover is probably a more appropriate term. Mark, played by Michael Douglas. The two of them, it's like they love each other and they love being together and stuff like this. They're both doctors working in the same hospital and everything else. But he does. They two do tend to have arguments and stuff like that because of her stubbornness and everything else. And she's, there, and that's the thing. It's like, oh, you don't think we had any of this kind of feminism or anything like that back in the 70s? In the beginning of the movie, the two of them go to his apartment and everything else. And he's like, hey, babe, I'm going to jump in the shower. Could you grab me a beer? And she turns around, she's like, get your own beer. I'm going to get in the shower. And she goes and gets in the shower before he does. So, okay, knock the crap off. Just, anyway. Sorry, I know this is not what the video is about. Anyway, let's get back to the movie. So, anyway, so Susan, she's, her and Mark, they're trying to work out their differences. They're both working in this hospital and stuff. And, at one point she goes to kind of like I guess it's like an aerobics class or something. And her friend Nancy, who's played by Lois Chiles, like I said, you remember her from the hitchhiker segment from, Creepshow 2. She's talking about she's going to go in and have a procedure done and everything else. And, Nancy's telling her, like, hey, don't worry about it. It's a simple procedure. It happens all the time. It's no big, nothing to get worried about or anything like that. So she goes in and she has this procedure, but there's a problem. Okay. When she's supposed to be coming out of her, they take off the anesthesia and stuff like that. She's supposed to come out. She's not coming out. And so it's baffling. Nobody understands why, but she goes into this coma and nobody can explain what is going on here. So, Nancy, she finds out about it. She's, of course, she's upset. She's distraught. This is her friend. She cares about her and she wants to just know what happened. She wants to get to the bottom of this. And so she's starting to look into it and everything else. But here's the thing, it's like a lot of, including Mark. Now, admittedly, Michael Douglas's character, even though he's ultimately, there are parts of the movie you think he's going to be the bad guy, but, there are times you think he's a good guy. But here's the problem. It's like she's going and saying, I know something is wrong. This doesn't seem right. Why didn't she come out of it and all this? And pretty much he's basically being mansplained to by everybody, and it even goes up to the person, I guess, president, whoever runs the hospital, played by Richard Widmark, and everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody is gaslighting this woman. Everybody is just, like I said, everybody's mansplaining to her and all this kind of stuff, trying to tell her what's what and everything else. So eventually she's like, well, maybe I am starting to think I'm crazy and stuff like this. And then, she's doing, doing like a, kind of like teaching students and stuff, medical students and stuff. They're looking in on a patient and everything, and the patient happens to be young Tom Selleck, and he's going in for an injury that he got playing football, and so they're talking about him and everything. So okay, so he goes in to have his surgery, and then he's not coming out of it either. And then so she starts and she's like, okay, two of them in 2 days. This is getting suspicious. So she starts looking into it and, she's investigating. And then she comes to find out, well, a certain number of patients have been, going into these unexplained comas when they go into operating room number 8. And so she goes, and she's trying to investigate, trying to find what happens. But like I said, she's constantly running into people. Everybody's like, trying to tell her what's what. Everybody trying to mansplain to her and all this kind of stuff. And so, and so at one point she does start to think, okay, it is time to just let this all go and just, go about my duties and stuff. But she can't let it go. She's very strong-willed. She's very independent. And so she's going to get to the end of this. And then, she finds out that basically what is happening is that the hospital she's working in, what they're doing is certain patients, they're putting them under like anesthesia, but what they're doing is they're inducing coma in these patients. And then what they do is they take these patients and pretty much they cut them up and sell their organs on the black market. So she's trying to solve the mystery and everything else. But the problem is looks like she's going to be next up on the chopping block, for, being the next, unofficial organ donor. And, it's up to her and Mark, Michael Douglas's character. They got to try to come together and put a stop to what's going on before it's too late for either of them. And I think that's where I'm going to just leave the movie. This movie, it's not bloody or gory. It's not. It's much more of like a suspense thriller, medical thriller, stuff like that. So there's a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the stuff that they talk about in this movie is very much about like hospital terminology, which, because I work in a hospital, I've heard it. I'm not saying I understand it. I'm just saying I've heard it. But so yeah, so there's a lot of it. So, but it's good though, because at the same time, it's like, okay, so this guy, Robin Cook, wrote all these medical thriller books and everything. So obviously this guy writing stuff he knows about. So you can pretty much bet, like, when you're watching this, it's like, okay, it's like, it's not like She-Hulk where, they sit there and write all these legal scenes, and it's clear the people who wrote for that show, they don't know squat about, how to write a legal scene. They know nothing about it, but they're just writing whatever crap that they want, and just, expecting the audience to just accept it. This here, this is written by a man who, he is a doctor, or was a doctor, and he knew his stuff, he knows his stuff, and like so yeah, this you know the movie is very tense, it's very suspenseful. You got a really good, it's very subtle, but you got a really good score by Jerry Goldsmith, Robert or Michael Crichton. Actually, kind of surprised he didn't write and direct more movies. I know he did several, but kind of surprised he didn't direct a lot of his own novelizations, or movies, like well, I mean, yeah, I guess I can understand him backing off, but like Jurassic Park, that's gonna be a pain to shoot. Let Spielberg deal with it, stuff like that. So I guess I understand it. But yeah, just kind of surprised. I mean, I think he only directed like a handful of movies, not too many. But and surprisingly, like I said, he's actually adapting someone else's work instead of his own. But actually, it's a very well made movie, beautifully shot. The acting is top notch. Like I said, you got a lot of name actors in this movie. It's like surprised to see like young Rip Torn, young Ed Harris, young Tom Selleck, and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, and like I said, now the main female character, okay, yeah, she's probably gonna rub some viewers the wrong way because she's very, but I don't think she's not. Sorry, but she's not annoying like the way a lot of these female characters are written nowadays. She does, they do write her with a sense of sympathy. You do feel sympathetic for her, and you understand her plight and everything else. And while, she's not going to bow down to any man, she's not a man hater by any stretch. She's not trying to, she cares, like, her and Mark's situation, she cares about him, but she cares about him. She wants to be with him, but at the same time, she's determined nobody's going to get in her way, And but anyway, though, it's a good thriller, and I definitely recommend it. They did do a remake. I think it was a TV series remake that's like 3 hours long. I have the DVD. I just haven't got around to watching it yet. Probably not going to really be worth it. I mean, kind of similar to like when they did that remake of Rosemary's Baby a few years back with Zoe Saldana. It's like, not that it's bad. I'm just pretty sure it's like, it's not going to be bad. It's just going to be unnecessary. Like, you just don't need it. But anyway, so, yeah, but this here, if you want like a good thriller from the 70s and everything else, and you want a film that feels smart, you don't feel like you're being talked down on or anything like that, yeah, Coma is a good thriller, and I definitely recommend it. Good talent, everything else. So that's it. I think I've gone on way too long. Again, I'm sorry about going off on these rants, but anyway, so that's going to do it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I also hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the BodyBags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I am the Saturday reviewer, and it's an honor to be here. And that's it, everybody. Take care, have a good night, and I'll see you later.